we're gonna get started. We'll call the Committee of the Whole meeting to order. She was supposed to be the one that's going to present.
Well, it's not really a presentation, we're just going to have fun. I think it's going to be as long as it takes for the Huh? How are you going to make good? I had talked to Mary yesterday and she said to just call on the phone. So I can call her.
Here.
Trustee Coleman?
Here.
Trustee Johnson? Here. Trustee Sauk? Trustee Lee? Here.
All right, first item is discussion and presentation. We're going to have a discussion with the water operator agreement. I think everyone should have one in front of them. I think everyone get one. say one of you just sit up here, and I'll get another chair. Go ahead, can you say something?
How you doing, Mayor?
I'm doing fine.
How you doing, board?
How are you?
Good. Okay. Oh, I can hear an echo.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, Madam Clerk, Board of Trustees, and all residents. So at the last committee meeting, I had gone over with you briefly, to the best of my abilities, the discussion of the proposed, new contract between, Village of Sauk Village and GLCAP, which is known as Great Lakes Community Action Partnerships, which would be for a new water operator agreement. Bud was unable to be here tonight because he's based out of Ohio, but he was in the Chicago area last week for business, and so he came to last week's board meeting just to introduce himself, just so you can put a name to the face, since he was in the area. But this is the contract that we wanted to have you give you the chance to review tonight, and then ask any questions that you may have with Bud. As you know, the village entered into a one-year interim water operator agreement with Robinson Engineering to just kind of bridge the gap after the previous water operator had retired. As you know, the village retires a Class B operator because they have a well system, and those operators are very difficult to find. And so we've been working since the summer with GLCAP to try to create this partnership by which they would become your certified water operator, but in addition to being able to provide that service to you, they would be able to provide at no cost to the village additional technical assistance, training of staff, troubleshooting, and just extra level of service that the village would otherwise, using like a consultant like Robinson, would have to pay for, out-of-scope services and what we got. And before I turn it over to you all and Bud, and let you ask any questions you may have, I will let you know that as the template to this agreement, I have provided GLCAP with the agreement that we have, that the village had with Robinson Engineering. So it is a lot of the same language. This contract will have to be, this agreement will have to be submitted to and approved by IEPA. And so this also hits all those points that IEPA would want to see, such as number of hours, responsibilities broken down between the village public works department and the water operator, testing protocols and recordings and things like that. So if it's okay with you all, I will just allow Bud to just kind of introduce himself again and take it from there.
Okay, again, I appreciate your guys' time last week, and again, to kind of, again, put a face behind the voice. This is a standard contract that we have, as I said last week. We're currently been providing these services just down the road at Hopkins Park and Pembroke, and I think that we can help, fill the void as your interim responsible operator leads, and more than filling that void, I think we can gain some more ground. We're all about educating staff. My ultimate goal would to be work ourselves out of the job to develop your staff to be able to obtain that much coveted Class B water license. So what question, and I can go on and on, but I'm going to check myself. So what questions do you folks have?
Mr. Mayor, I have a question. Thank you. Melanie, you did say something about extra services. I'm reading in a tiny little paragraph here where the, GLCAP company will bill our village $1,750 weekly during the term of the agreement with a minimum of 16 hours per week. But you were saying there are extra services. Are those extra services detailed anywhere? Because it says also GLCAP will bill an additional $100 per hour beyond the required 16 hours in services.
Okay. That's a great question. When we look at these contracts, we have attorneys and stuff go through them. That language is a requirement in our contracts according to our attorneys. And if you look at that, that is going to be if the owner requires. So when, if you guys say it requires for the responsible operator portion, if you guys say, Bud, I need you guys to do this, then that would happen. But you can call down the Hopkins Park that, that would never happen because, and I guess your protection of that would be you just don't require anything. You may be, as we develop this relationship, trust me, it will be, I guess, again, I got to build that trust. I recognize that, but it would be us bringing ideas to you guys about how we could bring it. And with that, we would be developing an additional work plan outside, so this is a contract for the responsible operator have to's according to the state of Illinois, okay? So let's say we're up there now, some of the things that Melanie talked about, I'm going through my brain here. It's maybe developing backwashing SOPs, okay? So that would be, we would write up a quick little memo of understanding saying, okay, we are going to develop SOPs for this, no cost, all of that stuff. So you guys have that protection there. Did I answer that good enough?
Yes, you did. And then the training of staff, that is a part of the $1,750. That's not an additional cost. Is that correct?
Melanie, I'm getting an echo. Can you summarize what the question was?
I think that she said, would the training of staff be included in the $1,750 per week?
No. That would be your free stuff. At no cost stuff. When you look at this contract, when you get down to the the GL cap responsibility, that spells out what we will be doing under this contract. And ultimately, what this contract is you're paying for that name and a license number to go on those monthly reports. Ultimately, there is a cost to that. But if it's not under this responsible operator, these things, then we would be doing it at no cost for you. Here's the for instance, and I know this is a little bit of an issue. Okay, we're going to be the one issuing public notices. Okay, so it's up to us to issue the boil orders and stuff as appropriate. Let me make sure I'm looking at this right. GLCAP's responsibility, but if we want to train your staff on how to do it, that's not under this grant. That would be under our other federal programs.
So, and but I'm just gonna add in my 2 cents, and that is that, so there's the GLCAP, or the water operator responsibilities, which is just the day-to-day running of the system. And then the thing that GLCAP can bring to the table, is all of the training and technical assistance. And they pay for that. It's at no cost to the village, but they pay for that out of their federal grants. Is that correct, Bud?
Correct.
They're like, GLCAP is actually a nonprofit, and they are funded by, they can provide everything but the water operator services, that like Bud said, was signing off on the monthly reports and the sampling and the testing that IEP requires, but then they can provide other items to the village, like technical assistance, training, help with water billing, correct, Bud, and audits, water audits and things like that. But they utilize grants from like HUD or EPA or federal monies that they get.
Yes.
Grants.
Yep.
Okay, so the staff will be trained,
Oh my gosh, yes.
and that will be taken care of through the grant. It wouldn't be an additional charge to us. And then you will also help us with our water billing system to get it in order and get it back operating the way it should be. Is that what you just said? When you say water billing system, what do you mean?
So I think, and Bud, I'm just gonna say this, and then you correct me if I'm wrong, I believe, so that would be, like I said, that's separate from the typical water operator responsibilities. But then they have that extra capability to provide through their grants, which they would, to help with billings and water audits. Is that?
Oh my gosh, yes. Yeah.
So it's kind of like it's, the water operator responsibility is kind of a separate item.
Yes,
And
it's
then
just.
when they have this, once they're in Sauk Village, they're able to start helping with other items, like water audits and the billings and things like helping you to get that housing order.
Okay, so we would be able to have a trained person here in the village that, because right now, and I'm asking this question because right now, as you know, our water bills are all messed up. Everything is just off. They will be able to help us get that back on track. Is that what you're saying? So our meters can be read properly and all of that. So would that be a person that would be here in the office in the village? Because right now, I believe that our director of finance is also acting as our water billing specialist, as well as our treasurer, and you know, they're like doing all these things that they're not really qualified to do. So would that person be on site here at the office? So if we have questions, we can go to the office, pick up a phone and ask?
Okay, so any issues the village has, whether any issues in managerial, financial, technical capacities, we will make sure we get the right specialists to work with whoever in your system, managerial, financial, or technical, that you need. So like the billing clerk, or with the water billing. You know, one of the things we would do, we would go and we would probably spend a day or two with you up in the office, looking at reports, looking at the systems, identifying the problem, and then we can come back and come up with the best. No, I'm not going to tell you I'm going to come up with the solution. What I can come up with is some alternatives to address the issues. Okay. And then once that's determined the best way to proceed, then we can help implement that, which includes, when we can't be there, we would be a phone call away, we would be a virtual meeting away. And so that means that our responsible operator that's going to be there a minimum 2 days a week, odds are he's not going to be the person working with you on the billing. You know, if there's a financial, Melanie mentioned a couple times, and it's one of the things I'd like to get started on with you folks, is a water audit. That may not be our day-to-day operator, because we're big enough now we can specialize. So, but no, we've got, you know, we're no matter where we're at, we're always a phone call away. And right now we have 5 staff in Illinois that, you know, I think we have 4 of them north of Springfield with different talents. So, but yeah, we will, and ultimately this is what we do. It's on-site work, and then it's also remote, but that's depending on, you know, depending on the project and the need.
And is that something, so after signing this contract, you will be on board with us, so is that something that we can make a priority in the village, is to start working on our water billing system? Is that something we can start right away?
Melanie, can you summarize that, because I want to make sure I answered correctly?
Trustee Burns asked if working on the water billing would be something that we could, that GLCAP and the village could prioritize to.
Oh my God, yeah, I wanted to stay one more night last week and be in your office the next morning to start going through stuff. So, but yes, that is the highest of high priorities, because that is that's the epicenter of your water department. If you don't have the funds, you know, if you don't have the capacity to bill, that kind of puts a wrench. So yes, that would be priority 1.
Thank you so much.
And on that note, as we start looking at this contract and stuff, you know, there's going to be some starting dates and that type of stuff. But the billing software, that's something that we can probably pitch into right after the first of the year. You know, our 3 services are not linked to a contract, so we can be providing you with some of these services. But the fact that we're there as responsible operator, that gives us a lot more, what's the right word? We can leverage a lot of our other programs, you know, to be more, it's going to be more high intensity, since one of our representatives is going to be there, you know, a minimum of 2 days a week. That's really going to fast track. That's really going to fast track some of these, our level of assistance.
Okay. Can you hear me, bud?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. You have another question about Trustee Coleman?
Hi, Bud. Wow. Okay. My question is really quick. This pertains to your training. How long would it take to bring a staff up to speed with your system?
Boy, that is a good, fair, and almost a trick question. Okay, so to obtain your different license in Illinois, there's 4 levels of license. There's a Class D for distribution, that's what most of your neighbors to the north have, or a Class C, which is chemical feed. Okay. When you get in, and those require X amount of years. When you get up to a Class B license, and don't quote me, and I apologize, I didn't look this up, but I believe it's 4 to 6 years experience, hands-on experience in the field. Also, they have to pass a pretty, they got some math problems they have to do, okay, and then other questions. So ultimately, it would be, depending on the capacity of your staff, because we all have life outside of work. This would be, this would be several years, depending on, and you may have some people there now that have the years that we just may need to train them up. But what I see is, we can work with them, we can train them, but the secret to this is keeping them. Okay? You know, I see a lot of systems where you start getting a revolving door of employees coming in, going through the cycle, and then kind of coming out, you know, of leaving for other reasons. Okay? Also, when we come and get somebody trained up and get their license, when we get there, I'm going to be positive, then the challenge is going to be keeping them, because then they can pretty much go wherever they want to in a higher demand. So along with building the capacity of your staff, we also have to build the capacity of your systems to make sure that funding is there to hire and retain good quality staff, and that's field staff and that's office staff. I mean, I'm sure you guys see that with your police force and everything else. So, but no, this is, you may have somebody in the hopper. Fast tracking somebody would be probably 1 to 2 years at the most, at the quickest, to get them ready. I am proud. I have pride is not a good thing. One of the things I have is I have an Illinois Class A. Okay, that's the highest. I'm a high school graduate. Okay, I did not go on to college. Went to work for my village, but I put my Class A license, the work I had to go through, and I'm not taking anything away from a college degree, but me climbing up the ranks, getting the water license and passing these tests and the education it took is kind of in a way equivalent to college, because there's books, there's hands-on, and there's everything. So, but no, I want to work us out of the job. And once I work ourselves out of the job, the board, the workers, the capacities, and the community is set up to succeed. That's what our goal is.
Thank you, Bud.
You have another question from Trustee Wade?
Bud, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, how are you? Could you explain?
Fantastic.
Wonderful. Could you explain what a water audit is? You said that's one of your first goals.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay, here we go. Okay, what a water audit is. Okay, so I think it's safe to say you guys are familiar with what a financial audit is, right? Mm-hmm. They go in, they run reports, they look at the details. I'm being on right now, but what a water audit is you go and you look. No. Let's keep it the most basic. A water audit. How about this? I can increase your guys' revenue. I can utilize a water audit to increase your revenue without increasing your rates. And we do that by looking at several things. In your water system, and this is all tied back to your billing, you have real loss and paper loss. So the water that you guys pump into your pipes at your 2 plants, the water that you put in those pipes and do not make it to an end user, that's real loss. And we can put a dollar amount on that. Okay? That's non-revenue water. You're never going to be making revenue off of that. So we want to decrease that. I know at one of the meetings, or one of them, you guys had a main break along the edge of, was it Sauk Trail or somewhere, kind of in a remote spot. Okay, those are typically, we will call them acute big blowouts. You go, you find them, you fix them. Okay. With the audit, so we look at the real loss. Also then, apparent, or I refer to it as paper, is water that you put in your system at your plants, the pumps, that makes it to an end user that you're not capturing. Okay, you're not measuring the gallons. You're not measuring them accurately, because the first thing we're going to look at is we need to make sure that everybody that should be getting a bill is getting one. The next thing we start looking at is everybody that is getting one, is it accurate? Okay, you know, that burden should, and once all that's up and functioning, then you can create, I'm not going to name names here, but we're working with another system, and we went out and we started the audit. We had the billing clerk give us a list of, I'm going to say, they had 180 accounts that were supposed to be in the off position. Nobody was using them. I sent my staff out, and 60 of those homes weren't even homes there anymore. They had been torn down. You know, they were just vacant lots. Okay, another 60 of the homes were still there, but they were derelict buildings. You know, it was obvious nobody was living there. Okay, another 60 were all homes being lived in that should have been getting, you know, they should have been getting a bill. So, you know, and then we start looking at, you know, and again, so part of the audit, we ultimately start with your billing office, the nerve center, and work our ways out, looking for ways not for those systems not to pump as much water. Also, then making sure we're capturing the usage out of your system. And that's, you know, and we also, and here I'll go ahead and breach it over into rates and stuff, because our goal here is to make sure your water department is running efficiently and effectively as what it can to keep the cost down. But also we need to make sure that as I said before, and that's why I get wound up about billing systems, to make sure everything is working there as it should. Your field crew are the eyes and ears of the system. The nerve center is up in that office, and you know, it's one body, and it all has to be working.
That's a great explanation. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I have one question. This is Trustee Burns again. How often will the water audits be performed?
Melanie, I want to make sure.
How often will the water audits be performed?
Oh, once a year. Well, officially once a year. I think with the TLC you guys are going to need, okay. I said you really can't fast track the operator stuff so much, but if you're having billing issues, so we're going to be right in the core of your billing. We can be doing, as we get your billing system up and functioning, we can be addressing a lot of the fixes on the front end. But typically they're done once a year. Another thing we want to leverage is that Sauk Village, or all the water systems in the nation ultimately, but it would have been about a year ago, you guys would have submitted a lead service line inventory, okay? Identifying where all your service lines are. That's going to give us a big head start as well. Making sure nobody, again, I'm not being accusatory, but making sure everybody that's getting a bill is getting one, and then making sure it's accurate.
And one more question. The training process, will your people that's being trained, does the grants cover any of the training?
Will the grants cover the training for staff?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Now, okay, it covers okay, so we do different types of trainings with GLCAP. Okay, so we do a lot of I actually almost look at utilizing you guys as a training hub for the neighbors. So we will have trainings as near as what we can to you, where we'll invite your staff and neighboring communities to come together to teach them on whatever. That includes your water staff. We also do training for financial and also for clerks, okay? We also do online training that's available to anybody. But the best training and I think just looking at your staff and stuff, some of the best training that we're going to be doing is what I call tailgate training. Okay, that's going to be aimed just specifically at you guys and your staff, no matter what capacity they're in, a one-on-one, working with them to identify what that training. And again, I'm gonna pick on backwashing filters, because I remember from several years ago, I had some concerns there. So we'll interview the staff. We'll take a look at how they're doing them. We will incorporate them in writing up the SOPs to make sure we're doing it right. And then we will come back then and train them, a series of trainings to get them up to speed. Some of the different trainings we would be doing would be teaching them how to flush a hydrant properly, how to take chlorine residual. But these situations were not created overnight. They're not going to be solved overnight. And I do not mean to be disrespectful to any of the staff, but I have to be cognizant as a trainer, realizing that they also have a job that has to be done. You know what I mean? And they may have already picked this up off with me. I have a tendency just to overwhelm everybody. So that's where we need to take it in smaller bites. But at the end of the day, and I know this, Sam, this is kind of an overused phrase. Our job is to teach everybody how to fish rather than fish for them. And sometimes that's maybe not the best way to say. The way our federal grants are written is for that. We are there, and trust me, with a lot of this stuff, just get out of the way and let Bud do it, and I'll get her ship shape here in no time. But that's not how we operate, and that's not what's best for Sauk. Or any of our systems. It's building that local capacity. Your neighbors to the south, Hopkins Park, we've engaged with them for over 12 years. Okay, there's been times that it has moved glacially slow. Why? Because they just have 2 or 3 people that we interact with. One operator that changes almost at one time it was almost a monthly change. Different boards and stuff, but now they've solidified and they're moving forward, and you guys have enough just plain out physical capacity of staff that, we can be multitasking.
Trustee Williams again.
One more question.
Okay.
This would be for the mayor, I think, though. Who prepared the resolution? Or did your company do it, Melanie? Who prepared it? Do you know, Mr. Mayor?
No. I think it was these lawyers, but I can't say for sure.
Which lawyers?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Oh, you don't know which lawyers prepared it? Number one, we don't have Will County anymore. So if you can tell whoever the lawyers are, that we're strictly Cook County and not Will, before we move on with this resolution. But I wanted to know that the resolution and the contract were approved by a lawyer, but you don't know which one. It would help if you, when lawyers prepare a resolution or ordinance, that they put their names on the bottom too, because then we know who to go to if we have questions, and we know it's been reviewed by the jury.
Melanie, are they talking about the contract you gave them?
Trustee Williams was asking about the resolution that was prepared,
Okay.
for the board to accept the agreement.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't the contract. Okay.
No, and that the contract was reviewed by an attorney, and I'm assuming it was because the resolution was created by an attorney, but we don't know who that attorney is.
I have a question, Mr. Mayor. So you're saying that we have a a whole resolution and a whole contract, and we don't have no clue who prepared this? Didn't you just appoint Delgado as our corporate attorneys on the 10th of December? So if they're not preparing our resolutions, we can't even do anything with this tonight. I'm just saying, again, we're reading, but how can we really accept this? No, I'm not talking about voting. How can we accept these documents when you're, as the mayor is saying, you have no clue who prepared them? And where are the corporate attorneys that you appointed on December 10th? See, I'm only saying that because, again, I heard a word that Bud used earlier, is protection. Our lawyers are there to make sure these contracts in the village is protected. Not saying that he would do anything, but technically, lawyers are supposed to oversee and review these documents for the village's protection. You just appointed a corporate attorney on the 10th of December, and yet you're saying you have no clue at all what attorney prepared this? What other attorneys are we dealing with?
I want to make a statement here, and I understand your guys' role. I have been fortunate enough to find a operator with the required license, and time is of the essence because I fear I'm going to lose him. And if I can't get him a job offer, we may not be able to provide this service. So when you look at our contract, it's on page 5, number 8. Let's see. No, yeah. It's let's see, the termination. Yeah, we could, this could be stopped within looks like 15 days on 30 days written notice, 15 days. However we can fast track this, the better, because my biggest fear is that the person I've got lined up is going to go somewhere else.
Okay, okay, but I understand. So to me, the best solution is, I do know for sure 100% that our legislative attorney is on board, and I think that if the mayor has no clue as to what attorney, who this attorney is, or where they come from, it would be best if we would be able to turn this over to our legislative council, since it is the Board of Trustees that has to make the decision, and the Board of Trustees that has to vote on it. We do have legislative council, and I think that we could turn this over to our legislative council, let them just review it so that we can fast track it. I don't know how we can fast track this any other way. So if the mayor is in agreement, since the board has to approve this as soon as possible, if McGrath would be able to look over these documents. So the mayor let the record show that the mayor does not want the legislative attorney to review the documents, and let the record also state that we have no clue, or our mayor have no clue, what attorney drew up these documents, and we don't know what attorney we're dealing with. And the mayor, I want to ask a question, Mayor. Where are the corporate attorneys that you appointed on December 10th? What is the status of that? I'm talking about the agreement. Mayor Burgess, I'm asking you, this agreement has to be approved and overseen by an attorney. So I'm asking you, Mayor Burgess, what is the status of the corporate attorneys that you appointed on December 10th?
We have Mr. Mason on the phone. to explain the program for which he would like to present to the village. He's providing the nuts and bolts. He has the cost in here, all of that. I don't believe that his concern and that he needs to be included in trustee dialogue in terms of who created the resolution, even though it's a valid concern, very valid concern. Who reviewed on the village's behalf the contractual operation agreement, all of that's here. But where the conversation is going right now, he does not need to still be on the line for this because this is internal. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
But I do have one more question. I agree with what you said, but when do you have to have a signed contract from the village in order to keep the person that you'd like to start? Because we don't have another meeting until after the first of the year, except a special meeting, right? Oh, that is part, okay, good, that's what I needed to know. So, but we need to have this reviewed by an attorney before that. Okay, thank you, but that's all I need to know. What's our deadline?
Yes, I can tell you that Robinson's initial contract expired on November 30th. We extended to January 5th because this was still in process. I've been working with GL Cap since the summer. Would you say, Bud, going back and forth, trying to, because knowing that Robinson, we have water operators on board, it's not something a service we typically provide, but the village, like a number of other communities, was in a position where, from time to time, as water operators leave, and I think you have 15 days where you have to have another operator on board. Is that correct, Bud?
Correct, yeah.
So we had put the interim contract in place for a year. So like I said, the original contract expired November 30th. We were able to extend it 1 month right now. It currently expires on through January 5th. So GL Cap previously was going to come, this was agreed upon at the last board meeting, that it would have been, they would have started January 6th. I believe at this point, even if they do come on board, even if it was approved at the next board meeting, I think that Robinson would probably have to extend it to 4 weeks at least to just allow for the transition, because they have to coordinate with the operator that they have coming on board. So bottom line is, the contract between Robinson and the Village Water Operator Services currently expires on January 6th. So we need to have, at this point, probably extended a few weeks, but I think as soon as possible, get this approved. And I think, like Bud said, the biggest concern being that if he were to use this operator, then we're kind of back to square one.
That's fair.
That was a great presentation, but thank you.
But I can go ahead and let you go.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Hey, I appreciate talking to you guys, and I understand all this, but let's make this happen. I think it's going to be good. Ultimately, as I said at the meeting, this is really going to expedite it. And I think one thing, regardless of where we're at, I will make the commitment once we get back. What is it? January? When is Christmas? The holiday's over. The week of January 6th. We can start. I will start reaching out to Melanie. I'll work through Melanie, but we can go ahead and start jump-starting your water billing issues. Just so we're not delaying that. Let's get that up and going. I appreciate y'all. If you need me, holler. And Melanie, again, I appreciate everything you've done to help make this work. See you.
The reason why this was not passed on is because we had this meeting to make sure between Mr. Mason and the board that they have any questions that would probably alter this agreement. That's why it was not passed on. Now that Mr. Mason has explained to the board, and the board asked the question that they need to ask, now it will be passed on to our corporate authorities, and we'll have an answer before the end of this week, and we will bring it back as a resolution or as a vote. We're going to have a special meeting next Monday.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I have a question. We've been getting documents, lately here, we've been getting documents for the trustees, a resolution and ordinances and other documents that we have not known what attorney has been preparing these documents. So I don't know if this is something we can coordinate with the clerk. But I think at this time it shows that we do need a cover sheet of some sort to accompany these resolutions and the ordinances that the attorneys need to fill out, stating their law firm and the attorney that completed the resolution and or ordinance, and sign off on the fact on this sign-off sheet, what document they reviewed, and then sign off on it. And it needs to accompany our resolutions and our ordinances, because now we are in a position where we don't know what's going on with attorneys, and we are getting documents that definitely has to be approved and reviewed by attorneys. So if we can put that into consideration, a cover page to accompany our ordinances and our resolutions from the law firm or the attorney that's preparing the work, and signed off on, so we won't have to keep going through this process.
I will appreciate it. All right, what I just passed out was the two meetings that we're going to have next week. One will be a committee meeting, which will be at 6 o'clock. And following that meeting, we will have a board meeting that we will be doing the tax levy, which we do every year. And then also the zero loss and cost factor. And then also our accounts payable, which we vote every 2 weeks. So those will be three of the things that will be on that meeting next week. And then also, we'll be the next item that we have on here is ordinance approving the settlement. We talked about this before. We had a different set of lawyers when they talked about it, so now we have to bring, which we have brought it to the other lawyers. They have to look at this settlement agreement, which we talked about, and hopefully we can get that on the agenda, because the agenda may change. So even though we've got what we have right now, that may be something that we may have to bring back, because we have a different set of lawyers now. So that being said, this agenda that you have is a tentative one. If it changes between now and Friday, you'll get a copy of it. But I'm hoping that it shouldn't change. But then again, I don't know what the new lawyers would bring. So.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. I'm trying to make sure I understand what you just said. We have an agenda that is prepared that you have to prepare 42 hours in advance. 48 hours, I'm sorry, 48 hours in advance. This is set for Monday, the 23rd. And you're saying that this agenda can possibly change between now and then?
No, I said it can be changed between now and Friday.
Now and Friday, okay.
Okay. Madam Clerk?
Know that also by virtue of the fact that you have been advised of the proposed special meeting, then this is your notice. You've been given your notice today. So therefore, it will not come to your homes.
Okay.
Will it come to the email? At least?
If you would like that, I can do that.
Yes, an email will be fine. Thank you.
Final one.
Yeah, if it doesn't change, then you won't have to, but if it does change, you will get an email. Okay. Moving on to public comment. That's what I said, the lawyers have to, you have a different set of lawyers. They have to look at that, you're talking about the Dwight case, correct? Yes, that has to be looked at by a different set. And if there's any changes, they'll let us know, and if it's not, it'll stay on the agenda. So if they give us a heads up or thumbs up or whatever, then we can move forward with the agreement that was put into place when we have the other lawyers. If it changes, I will make sure that the board gets those changes, and also we'll take it off the board meeting for next week. We'll take it off there to discuss it again if there's any changes. If there's not any changes, and I think everybody got a copy of it, but I'll try to make sure. Okay, I will make sure that everyone gets a copy of what was talked about before in the executive session, and then we will go from there.
And these will be, so you're saying we have a different set of corporate attorneys who will be dealing with this?
Yes.
So not the Delgado group? No. I mean, well, I'm not worried about Councilor Glink. They're not our
That's
attorneys.
who reviewed it.
That's
who reviewed the case before we answered it.
Exactly,
Okay,
but
so
now
if Delgado signs anything that's different, then I will bring it to the board. If it's not, then I'll bring the board what Delgado has agreed upon.
Thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Mayor, I'm looking over the special board meeting package or notice. I'm looking for I don't see anything with the Wadi on the special board meeting list.
It's on there's no page number, but it's the meeting following the 6 p.m. meeting under B, petition agreements and actions, motion to approve a settlement litigation and the execution of a
yes.
certain settlement.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Thanks.
All right. All right, public comments, I'll say it again. All questions and comments must be directed to the mayor. Each speaker may comment on any matter concerning the business of the village of Sauk Village. Each speaker is allowed one opportunity to speak for up to 3 minutes and may not engage in debate, counter replies, or rebuttals. I'll answer and respond to all questions once all public comments have been made. When you come up, please state your name.
Kathy Betcher. 2 weeks ago, I asked about a heap of trash that's on the 200 or 2100 block of 222nd Place between Shirley and Paxton. You said you were going to see to it the next day. It's still there and it's nasty. It needs to go. Next, you're going to do the accounts payable next week, and you also told us that we could have a copy of it on the back tables several meetings ago. Can we please have those next week so that we can follow along? I'd like to ask, what kind of revenue is are the gambling casinos or gambling parlors that we have? What kind of revenue are they generating for the village? And if we do get a revenue from them, which we're supposed to, where is it showing in the budget? Can you tell us if we're getting anything and how it's being spent, what we're going to use it for? We haven't heard anything about that since they went in and they were supposed to be generating so much money. I'd just like to know what we're spending it on. And lastly, have we scheduled a budget hearing meeting? And if so, when? And have the trustees received a copy of the budget? That's it.
Anyone else?
I'm Francine Anderson. The couple of things I would like to say. I'm sorry that Trustee Sapp is not here today. I was going to gear my discussion toward her, but I guess I can gear it toward just trustees in general. And that one is that the town hall meeting that I got an opportunity to not attend, but to observe via Facebook. And my question was that so that all trustees could have my concern as an issue. And that is, if you're calling a town hall meeting, I'm hoping that some of the questions will be answered by the person who is presenting the town hall meeting. What I observed from what I saw was that 2 people presented. And if you're going to have presenters, maybe you should tell the public who your presenters are going to be. Because maybe some of us will be interested in what your presenters have to say. I am greatly concerned about still bringing back Mr. Finch as your auditor. Maybe others aren't, but I am. Because as far as I'm concerned, he was here when the problem started, and now you're bringing him in here to make some changes or to do whatever he does. The other thing is, and I am not slow at saying about my disagreement with your OIG. My 3 minutes is up? I didn't think so. Your OIG, who also, please, thank you. Sure. Okay. My concern about your OIG that the trustees have appointed as the Sauk Village OIG. I looked today, he had a website. And on that website, you can make complaints, but your personal information is also collected. So, if your OIG is to what you said when I sat here in this seat and you brought him on, was that he was for the trustees and the trustees only, because you were looking for information on which you said you had complaints and you were supposed to investigate. If my public privacy is noted and messed with in any kind of way, I want to give you forewarning that other citizens should be aware and not place your public information in public places. You need to be secure in your own thinking about what you do with your personal information. Please view that website for yourself. And it is well said. It's called SaukVillageOIG.org. So anybody, please go and look at it. And make sure before you submit something that you make sure that you're taking care of your own personal business as a citizen of Sauk Village. Again, I will say to you, if you have some serious complaints about what's going on here in Sauk Village, you can file that with the federal government, you can file that with the state government, and you can file that with Cook County. Please be aware where you leave your personal information.
Jeffrey Burns, Board Member District 168. First question, whose job is it to do the tax levy? Why? Second question is, how come we keep waiting for the 9th hour to do a tax levy? So why is a special meeting had to be called to approve the tax levy when we know every year that the tax levy is due in December? So the tax levy should have been done already. Also, there is a rumor that the village is about to settle with Dr. Jones. I would like to know, is that true? Also, another question, who's responsible for getting the budget ready? Who's responsible for doing the audit? And who's in control of making sure that the audit is done? Thank you. Oh, and I never heard of private-public. I thought it was either private or either public. I never heard that, but thank you.
Angela Jones. I was under the impression that all the speed bumps had been removed, but northwest on 217th and Jeffrey, those two are still there. My other concern was to see what can be done about a residence that has there's no patio doors off the kitchen, there's no patio doors or in the lower level, the basement, so anybody or any animal, rodent or whatever can go in. There is someone living in there. The water is running from out of the basement out through the garage door onto the pavement. Now the water's running over onto my driveway. Someone from the village came out a little more than a week ago and they were going to cut the water off. They couldn't cut the water off because whoever that lives at their residence had found a way to tap into, they put some type of covering or something over it, so now they can't even cut the water off. Whoever is living in there, there's no lights, no gas, no water. People are coming in and out of that residence. So I just wanted to know what can be done. And now I'm smelling mold and mildew coming, I guess you can say, from the firewall into my house. So this is disturbing to me, and I want to know what can be done about it. I'm sure there's some kind of legal technicality that would have to be addressed to talk to the person that's living in there, who isn't the owner. The owner passed away last year. So I don't know why the house hasn't been boarded up, because there are squatters in there with this person who's living in the residence. So I just wanted to know what can be done about that. I addressed it to Chief Barrett, and he said he would look into it. So I just wanted to let that be known. It's 21765 Peterson. Thank you.
Anyone else? Hey. First off, the complaint about the trash on that block, that's my fault. I dropped the ball on that one because I thought I was going to, I did tell you that I was going to get it taken care of the next day. A lot of things happened, but tomorrow morning I will make sure that we address that issue. As far as the accounts payable being on the back table, every time we tried to, that might have been the time when the copier machine may have been out. But we do put out accounts payable every time we have accounts payable, which would be the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month. As far as gaming, as far as revenue from gaming, I can't give you the exact amount, but it is pretty significant because we have quite a few gaming parlors here, and that money goes into general fund and be spent as need be under general fund, which means it's generally it's not earmarked for anything special. We're going to try to get a budget hearing scheduled here soon. Hopefully it'll be at the first of the year. I don't think it'll happen at the end, between now and the end of the year. And I'll put it out there for the trustees, and I'll put it out there for everyone else that would like to come and listen to the review. That's what it is. It's going to be. It's a review. Once that review is taken care of, then we bring it in, and then it becomes part of the voting part. We vote on it. We do not vote on it at the review. You listen to it with the department heads and the trustees and go over it at that time, and then after all that is taken care of, it's put on the agenda to be voted on. And that takes another week or two. It won't be done the same week that that'll happen too. Madam Clerk is saying it has to be published. Yes, once it's presented to the board, it will, as a review, it will get published, and then we'll have another hearing where the public can get involved in it, and then after that, then we'll go to a vote. So like I said, it's not done right away. It's done in a three-part process for the budget. Yes, tax levies are always done at the end of the year. The tax levies usually we don't try to raise, and we don't raise tax levies. In other words, that's the levies that are imposed upon people that have homes. It's part of your taxes, and you see it on your bills. The village itself, I think, is 21% of your total taxes goes to the village. Your schools, all of your different schools, education is close to 60%. So, but unless the reason that we try to wait till the last minute, just in case we get something that we were not aware of, that the state and the government decides that they want to give us an unfunded mandate, and we don't have the money to pay for it. We try to bring it in and bring that up. But usually it is done at the end of the month, and it'll be done hopefully by the end of this month. I don't know where this settlement came from, so I'm not going to even talk about that because I didn't hear anything about it. So I'm not going to even try to comment on that. The 2 speed bumps, I think it's on 217th. Those are permanent speed bumps. The rest of the speed bumps can be taken up there portable. These 2 were put down a while ago as permanent, and that's why we don't have a lot of permanent now. So that's actually, those speed bumps that you refer to actually stay there year round. I did try to get someone to come over there because I was told about the house that the water was running and we can't cut off, and then found out that there may be squatters, so we have to do something legally to, well, first thing we have to do is get the water cut off. So I don't know what it's going to take to get the water cut off, but I did see a picture of it. So we either have to dig it up on the outside, and that's probably be the only way that we can actually get the water cut off. And if there's people living in that, we'll have to squatters are against the law. So we'll have to go about legally trying to get that person out of there, especially if they're squatters. And that's it. That's everything. All right, the next item is comments by the trustees. I'll start with Trustee Burns here.
I want to say that the internal auditor already has proven himself to be valuable. He did a fantastic job in the town hall with all the information. The purpose of the town hall is to make sure that the professionals in every department or every aspect of this village, that you bring forth to the people, the professionals who can answer the questions. We may facilitate the town hall, but that doesn't mean we have all the answers for everything that happens in the village. You bring those professionals and you let those professionals handle and answer the questions. So thank goodness for the internal auditor, because up until the internal auditor brought forth the fact that there is a levy due, and our cutoff is the last Tuesday of December. Unless the auditor had brought that up, I don't think we would be even having this town special meeting right now. So the auditor has really already paid his weight in gold. So thank goodness, because we have to understand, when we do not meet the deadlines for these audits, we are penalized. So that's the reason why it's extremely important for our audits and our levies and all of that stuff to be done before time, because if it's not, we will be penalized, and those penalties are not chump change. They are thousands and thousands of dollars. So thank goodness for the internal auditor, Mr. Anthony Finch, who brought forth to this village that we need to look into it, because it's due to happen the end of the last Tuesday of December, and now as a result of it, the mayor is making sure we get that done. So thank you to our internal auditor. We don't need your comments, ma'am. So thanks to our internal auditor. Also, our inspector general is not just for trustees. That inspector general is for this entire village. Having an inspector general as a part of our organization will eventually translate into funds coming into this village. This village rates at a different rate and a higher rate in a protective situation when you have an inspector general as a part of your protective force. So you will see the inspector general being here. It will bring revenue to this village, and that we can do things for our residents and take care of programs that we so desperately need. So having an inspector general gives Sauk Village an edge over villages that does not. And we do aim to make sure that our village is protected as much as we can. So contrary to people who don't know what the heck they talking about, having an inspector general and an internal auditor has already paid off for this village, y'all. So Y'all can clap on that. Yes, ma'am. Yes. And see, and the thing of it, and another thing is that when people don't understand, when people don't have a sense of community, and when people don't have a sense of unity, they'll talk about everything and everybody except what's good for the community and what's good for each other and how we can live in harmony together. And the Inspector General and the Internal Auditor will make sure that those things happen. And the trustees are definitely making sure that those things happen. When we don't have attorneys looking over paperwork, the complainers and the boogie-boos, they don't have anything to say about making sure that our paperwork and our attorneys are taking care of business. They don't have anything to say about why our audits are not done and how we're losing millions of dollars. The boogaboos, oh, they just cry and whine. But the trustees, we're taking care of business. So these same people, Ms. Anderson, that's running for trustee, make sure y'all remember that name, because she has to understand what she's walking into. She was a trustee before, and when she was a trustee in this seat, she did exactly what I'm doing and what the exact same thing. She would be at that podium going crazy. Where's the money? Follow the money. I mean, she was the loud. You think I'm loud. I'm just passionate. She was loud and would be screaming. And I'm going to tell you something else. The police had to take her out of here. What happened, I don't know. But when you lay down with corruption, when you gonna get up with corruption, and there's a lot of corruption going on in Sauk Village, and that's just the truth. It's just the truth. So she have become corrupt. So please don't put a corrupt trustee up here, y'all. I'm just telling you. So the bottom line is this. I don't pull no punches and I don't play no games. This is my village. I've been here 26 years and I have a home here and I mean to protect this home. And I suggest everybody do the same and you protect them from people like that. Because we're telling you what the real deal is and what the truth is, and that thing is trying to criticize truth.
Why are you calling people names?
I said that thing.
You don't call people.
What people am I talking about, Mayor? I'm not talking.
Who are you talking about?
You tell me, because I just said that thing. I ain't said name, nobody's name.
If you continue.
Anyway, nonetheless, it is time for all of this phony accolades, and it's phony, being all polite. There's a time to be polite and there's a time to tell the truth. And there's a time to set the record straight. I have a broadcast and it's called Setting the Record Straight with Trustee Burns. I am the trustee that's going to set the record straight. So the mayor and anybody else might as well get used to that and understand when I open my mouth, truth is going to come out. And if someone is downing the work that I'm doing, I do have something to say about it because I'm doing good work. And I refuse to have anybody criticize my work when they don't have a pot to in and a window to throw it out. Y'all have a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. Come on, y'all can give God some praise. Because guess what? In a few more months, we praying that this administration will be a new administration and Sauk Village will be a new village and we will be happy and rejoicing. Am I right? Happy holidays, y'all.
Before we go any further, public comments is exactly that. Public comments is exactly what it's supposed to be. Not sit up here and have a show, call people out, call people names, make derogatory comments. I know you may not like that, but that's the way it should be. If you have to resort to bringing someone else down so you can lift yourself up, that's a shame. I wasn't talking to you. Okay, but then please be quiet. Please be quiet. Okay, all I'm saying is this: if you don't respect What'd you say? Bye. You can go. You can go. Then don't tell me what to do. Don't tell me what they're going to do. Okay. That's the problem that we have. And really, if this is what you're going to be doing when it comes time to public comment, all you're doing, again, I respected you. Please shut up. Please shut up. Thank you. All right, but then, you know something? I'm not, you won't want to listen? You don't want to listen? I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. Thank you. No, it don't. If you keep doing this, no.
Again.
It was moved by these two right here.
Okay.
So, thank you very much for coming out to hear this day.
That was very rude of her. You thought that was very rude? She had practice.
Sorry, don't forget your meeting tomorrow. Don't forget tomorrow. Finance meeting. I got a lot to do. You won't, because I'm over it. But you don't have to go outside and expect my comments today. Private. Yes. We'll make sure you put these out free. No, that's a building from the president. Get a hug and a